Okay, this is another reaction video. This is from Dina and Phil. 7 restroom differences. Now, I can't believe I'm doing this one. I just did a video on Passport 2. We're also in Germany, and they told me about bathroom etiquette to a brief extent, but again, I'm kind of curious about this one. Well, to be fair, I'm not really that curious about it, but I just did one, so I'll do this one too. Let's see. Germany versus USA, toilets, behaviors, location, 7 restroom differences. Dina and Phil, please click like, share, and subscribe for them, and like, share, and subscribe for me as well.
In this video, we are going to look at not only how Germans go to the bathroom, but also how German bathrooms and customs of relieving yourself like all over the place are different.
Let's face it, we all do use the bathroom. Nobody's exempt from it.
And to the US and
But I don't know if it makes for interesting conversation, but I'm going to find out.
other countries.
Yes. These are based on our own observations, experiences, and research. Differences are not a negative thing. Everyone has their own personal preference, so please don't take this too seriously. It's supposed to be lighthearted and fun.
We are Diana
It's a disclaimer video. Got it.
and Phil. Diana's from the United States and I'm from Germany, and we're starting with our first point, which is going to be public restrooms. In Germany, the privacy you get.
Now, when I used the public restroom in Germany when I was in Mannheim, I had to pay €1 to use the bathroom. Okay, in the United States, you don't have to pay it to use. Now, sometimes you'll run into a situation where you go inside and the proprietor of the establishment will say, "Hey, that's for paying customers, and you have to buy something in order to have the privilege to use the restroom." But right.
In public restrooms tends to be a little different. Most of the time, the real toilets, the ones for number 2, have more privacy than the ones in the US.
That is true. When I went to use I'm talking about in Germany, it was almost like a small closet, a small room closed. Nobody could see what was going on in there.
There are often individual rooms for toilets, or you'll have toilets at least in proper stalls. And there will not be a huge crack in the door where people...
Yeah, in the United States, you can generally tell if somebody's in there. That's all you can tell. It's not a huge crack.
People can always peek in, like in the US.
In the US, public toilets may be less private than some would like. You'll have individual rooms and stalls as well. However, the typical public restroom stall usually have larger gaps under and over the floors and big gaps in long.
Now, on the side, it's not that big. It's maybe this big, so you tell somebody's in there. But yeah, underneath it and above it, yeah.
On the sides as well. This is pretty standard in most public schools, airports, and malls, and a lot of restaurants in the US.
Yeah, but what?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was in Hartfield Airport in Atlanta, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I walked in and I look up and I see no urinals, just a bunch of stalls. And I realize I'm in the wrong bathroom. I'm in the female bathroom, and I quickly exit. Nobody saw me, thank God. It wasn't that busy, especially for Hartfield, which is the busiest airport in the United States. But I'll tell you, yeah.
Why? It is so uncomfortable if you just want to do your number 2 business, and there's people waiting out.
And we're calling 1 and 2 here too. Look at that. In Passport 2, they did the same thing.
Outside, and they have a front seat view at you. They're always just...
No, it's not like that. It's not a front view. It's not like you could, get popcorn and sit down there and watch what somebody else is doing in there. The only reason I think it's like that is so you can tell if somebody's in there or not. I mean, without having to, go underneath and see if there's feet hanging. I don't know. I guess that's why they do it. But, yeah.
leaning against the wall.
Now, there are some places that I've been to, which I like, which they don't have something like that, where there's no cracks at all. And they've actually have a red, which means somebody's using it, or a green, nobody's using it, and you can go in and use it yourself.
And I can't make eye contact while I'm...
Who is standing outside of your stall staring at you?
Random people.
I just think going number 2 in public restroom.
I guess people don't really understand. They think just because there's a gap there or there's a little slit that you can look in that people are looking at you.
Restrooms are kind of nerve-wracking to begin with, so yeah, I could see how that's difficult.
Exactly.
I would assume that the U.S. toilet setup is for cost purposes. It's probably cheaper to build, cheaper to maintain, cheaper to clean, and also provides some nice airflow between those cracks. Am I right?
So you get like the smell flow, not airflow.
Airflow with the smell.
Yeah, funnily though, I noticed the exact opposite when it comes to urinals in like men's restrooms. In the US, there's almost always a nicely separated large like divider in between, whereas in Germany, often there's literally nothing between you and your neighbors.
Really? There's not like a
There's
little
nothing.
stall?
No, it's a typical like,
So you
it's
can
like
fully
eyes
see.
forward situation.
That's so awkward.
Yeah, you can fully see.
Fun.
Our point number 2 is gonna be paying to pee and the restroom managers.
Yeah, I told you about that in Mannheim. I had to pay €1 to use the toilet. I didn't mind it because I had a bunch of change and I need to get rid of some of it, so.
Yeah, so in the US, there are a lot of public toilets. If you're on the road, there will often be rest stops with restrooms. There's gas station toilets are a typical stop as well. And we all know you're likely to find some type of restaurant every couple of miles.
Yeah, that's true. Public toilets are not as common in Germany,
Unless you're in Montana or Wyoming.
and you'll likely have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that will be anywhere from like 50 cents to a few euros. And if you're at a train station or gas station or a stop along the Autobahn, you often get a coupon to use and to get a discount to buy something that is already overpriced. So
Yeah.
you like pay €1, but you get a little coupon back for like 50 cents, something like that.
Spend your money.
They're usually just clean enough to also do your business.
A coupon to use the toilet?
Yeah. As someone who has to go to the bathroom a lot, I can attest. They're fairly clean, but not always clean.
We should have kept track how much money we spent for you going to the bathroom
It's
in
a
Europe.
yeah. Spend a lot more.
We have to budget for having to use the toilet on the road.
I have to go a lot. One of the most interesting things to me is that there's often someone attending the toilets. Like, there will be an individual waiting near the entrance with a coin bucket to make sure you pay. And I also never know if I'm supposed to pay at the beginning or the end of my business.
Yeah.
I usually pay before because I don't want to touch money after I've washed my hands. But I don't know. I see everyone doing different things. So
I paid before.
if you're in Germany or in Europe, let me know. Do you pay before or after with these like bucket coin things?
Yeah, I was tempted to say before, but sometimes I do it after too.
Yeah.
Depends on the
I
situation.
see everyone doing different things.
Our next point is very important. Peeing in public.
It's an important
Peeing in public?
topic.
Yes,
Wow, okay.
for every man.
Yeah. In the US, the urination in public is illegal in every state, and individuals who do so could be considered a
Well, to be fair, I remember driving through a part of town that maybe not be the best part of town here in Columbus, and there was an individual who was just urinating right in the middle of the street as I drove by.
public nuisance or
But you gotta go, you gotta go.
are guilty of disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, or public lewdness. Peeing in public could even convict someone where they are registered as a sex offender. Obviously,
Yeah, it depends on, I guess, how you're doing it. I mean, I guess if there's, a bunch of out in the open, just pull your pants all the way down to your ankle and are waving it around and doing it that way, that's not norm in the United States. You shouldn't be doing that.
would be a very, very extreme case. Most states would probably classify this as a misdemeanor, and depending on the case and state, and I'm sure a plethora of other factors, this could lead to hundreds of dollars in fines, jail time, or even just like community service.
Yeah, that's interesting. In Germany, it is quite normal and one might say socially acceptable to pee in public, like in certain situations. I mean, it's a human need, and if you gotta go, you gotta go. As long as the person is trying to go off somewhere to pee and not like in the middle of the street, then most people or even the police will probably not say anything. However, public
And when I was growing up playing football or soccer, there was a place, if a guy had to go, there was like a fence or something like that. You just go back there and you can find a place in the bushes, which was kind of out of the way, and just do your business.
urination is technically illegal and a Ordnungswidrigkeit, which is like an administrative civil offense or something, and you could be fined. Also for like Erregung öffentlichen Ärgernisses, I don't know, public offense, something. But I feel like for that you have to whip it out in the middle like of a pedestrian zone or something like that.
Woo! Yeah, I've seen way more people peeing in public here in Germany than in the US. Just the other day we were walking the street and there's two guys in front of us and one just stopped to to turn over to, you remember that?
On the fence,
Just left
yeah.
to the fence, and I was
Didn't
like,
even let us pass.
oh, he's peeing. So I was like, just kind of quickly scurrying by.
Just go by, give him a high five.
It's an everyday occurrence here. I would say people still pee in public in the US. Obviously, they try to be more discreet because the punishment is just higher.
Obviously, women aren't going to be doing something like that. The only time I ever ran into that situation, I had a, well, I'm not going to tell that story. That's no, thank you.
I've just seen a lot of people peeing here, and I swear I'm not like searching for this. It's just happens.
No, it's pretty common, and especially when people go out on the weekends,
Yeah.
like Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah. I actually read this article, I think it was Hamburg, and they started painting these like hydrophobic paint or something like that on buildings in busy areas like nightclubs, and apparently
That you would need a sign that says "Do not pee here. We pee back." Huh. I wonder how that works.
the paint just like repels liquid, so the liquid
Oh
hit-
wow! If you pee on the, oh good God, pee-proof paint. That's different. Don't pee here. Well, what if you back up 2 spaces and pee on the ground in front of the paint so it's not hitting the paint? Is that okay?
hits the paint, and then it would just splash back on the person. And I believe it was originally created by like Nissan for their cars to repel mud and stuff. Cities are doing it on buildings now.
Haven't happened to me yet. We'll see.
Some pee-proof
We'll see on
paint.
Friday night.
I'm just gonna go test out every corner.
Point number 4 is gonna be types of toilets.
So we've talked about this a little bit before in our housing differences video, but one of the first things I noticed in Germany is how different the toilets were. Most of them were attached to the wall, and there's a complete space underneath the toilet. I thought that was interesting. It's like a floating toilet. I feel like it would be easier to clean. Yeah, but I also fear that if I sit on it too quickly, I just might break it. Really, truly.
That probably wouldn't
Unlikely you're going to break that, but still, I remember seeing that as well.
happen since the walls are brick or concrete. But often the toilets in the US have still this ground base, I guess, and the plumbing is under the toilet as opposed to like into the wall, like we have.
You'll see these floating toilets in the US too, but they're usually considered more modern or newer buildings. But one of the things that I thought was completely wild when I first came to Germany are the shelf toilets, you know? The ones that just, they display your business for you, so you get to inspect it before you flush it
That's what
down.
it's for.
Now, I'm not that interested in inspecting anything before I go to the bathroom, okay? But I guess in Germany that's important.
It's so weird to me still.
Yeah, she's talking about these toilets that have like this step, like you're pooping onto, instead of in a hole. And she was so excited to see that. I don't know why. Those shelf toilets, though, they aren't as common anymore. It's more from, like, I would say the 80s, 90s, but still we see them every now and then. We're just going to Austria in November, and Diana got really excited for our shelf toilet in our Airbnb.
Yeah. Every
I have no interest in anything like that at all.
time we're at a restaurant or something where I see one of those, I have to tell Phil. I just think it's interesting.
Hey, guess what? When I went in there was a shelf toilet. I'd be like, why are you telling me that? Why do you think I'm interested? I'm trying to eat here, and you're telling me about a shelf toilet? Change the damn subject.
Cool toilet.
Awesome.
But question, have you ever seen one of these squatting toilets like we see in Asia a lot?
I've heard about that. My brother actually told me that he held it in for, whatever, 15 or 16 hours because he wouldn't go in those squat toilets in Japan.
Germany, I don't think so.
No? Okay, because we were in Greece the other month and I saw this squatting style toilet and I did
yeah.
not think it was common in Europe, but after some Googling, apparently it's common in Southern Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia as well.
Okay, so I was on Wikipedia, and you know wikis sometimes may be good, sometimes maybe. I was reading that in the BMW Welt in Munich that the public restrooms have some stalls with squat toilets. Can anyone confirm this? I need to know. Okay, thanks.
Wow, I don't need to know. If you discover that or find out for her, don't share it with me. Thank you very much.
Let me know if you know of these squatting style toilets, if they're common in your country. I don't really have a problem with squatting style toilets, but some people really struggle hard with
Yeah,
them.
I can.
Yeah, I would be one of them. I'm on his side for that.
And point number 5 is gonna be, let's call it flushing mechanisms. In Germany, most toilets have 1 or 2 buttons that you push like
I actually have a toilet that has 1 or 2 buttons. Okay, the one on the left is for urination. The one on the right is for defecation.
On the wall. And if there are two buttons, there's usually one
And some of the modern buildings have those as well.
smaller one, which is for the small matters, aka number one, and there's a bigger button for the larger matters, aka number two. And the purpose of this is to conserve water, I guess, and not waste energy if you don't need to.
Yeah.
And I think all modern toilets have some kind of system to choose between a quick flush and a full flush.
And say data streams and log files. I get that's, yeah, that's very funny. I get it. Data streams and log files. Nice.
Yeah, that's good. In the US, you'll typically find toilets with like a lever or a handle, and it's just a one and done.
I have two. I have a one down here and one upstairs. The one upstairs has the handle. The one down here has the left and right circular on the back.
It's
Or
one
on the
flush.
top.
You will see these
At
button
the back of it, just on top where the tank is.
toilets too sometimes. I see them in like nicer hotels and malls and stuff. They're often advertised as modern European style. It's also usually paired with the floating toilet styles as well.
Yeah.
But in the US, the levers, I would say, are standard.
I think the toilets with the levers, they used to be common in Germany as well, but now I consider them a little old.
Not necessarily. They're at work. They flush automatically for us. So whatever business you do in them, when you don't have to flush them, you just get up and leave, and it'll flush itself.
Even older than that, there were ones with like a handle or even a rope from above where you pull down. But those were like my grandmother's generation. I wonder if you also remember those.
Yeah, I've never seen those styles of toilets ever, but I feel like it would be cool to actually see one. I feel like old-timey movies.
Yeah, it's like a truck, like.
Yeah.
Right, next point is going to be stand-up peeing. And if you're from the US, one of the...
Okay, this is just from another video that I did just before this one. Is they say in Germany some guys like to sit down when they use the bathroom, and some guys like to stand. I don't give a rat's rear end which way you do it. That's your business. I could care less. Manliness or unmanliness, I could care less.
First things you may notice in bathrooms in Europe is a sign asking you to...
I mean, look at that. Sit down, yes, but don't stand up because you're going to piss on the floor. The middle one says a check mark, yes, sitting down. The other one, the one in the middle, has an X, don't do that, yes. Okay.
Please pee sitting down. And while in the US, I don't think I ever saw a sign like that.
That you never will.
I don't know. I don't go into the men's restrooms very often.
But sometimes.
Would I have to really go? In general, most men in the US...
Yeah, I'll give you an example of something like that. I was at Melbourne Airport down in Florida, and they were remodeling the whole thing, and they had basically one bathroom for men, one for women. The women's line was like 6 people long. I went in, and I was the last guy to do his business in there. And when I went out, I just walked up to the women who were in line and said, "I don't know about you, but nobody else is in there." And they agreed, and one of them walked over there.
Pee standing up, while in Germany, most men would prefer pee sitting down. It was a little challenging to get updated numbers, but a survey from YouGov.de showed that 50% of men preferred peeing standing up. However, 67% of men in Germany preferred peeing sitting down while in their home. Opposed to a survey from like QS Supplies showed that 70% of men usually pee standing up at home, but that was with American and British men. So
Somebody actually did a study on whether you stand or sit when you're taking a leak. A study? I wonder how taxpayer dollars went into this. Is that true?
it was a combination. I couldn't find one with just American men.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's true. Like, obviously, I'd rather pee standing in, like, public toilets. It's just easier, but I didn't think that many men peed standing up at home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And, of course, we are talking about when there's no urinal available.
Right, of course.
As a human without a...
A schlong.
Can I say penis without being demonic?
You just did.
As a human without an eggplant, I don't understand why you would want to pee standing up at home. Like, first off, how do you fully relax completely? And then secondly, how do you clean the mess? I don't...
You know, I don't put that much deep thought into it when I go to the bathroom here in my home. Okay, I'm just the only thing that's on my mind is doing the business and then washing my hands and getting out of there. Okay, and it's even not even that deep of a thought. I just do it naturally.
I don't care how good your aim is. I've lived with males in my family. I've had male roommates. I've had male partners. And I don't care how accurate you think your pee aim is. There will always be residual pee-pee in the place. And we'll pull out a UV light. We'll inspect it and debunk this madness of perfect aim. That's nonsense. Nonsense, I say.
Yeah.
Well, look, I understand where you're coming from, especially if you're using a bathroom after a guy uses it. But as someone who's also lived, well, I'm not going to go. No, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to be a good boy.
I can confirm that. But I guess like peeing while standing has been considered more masculine, although I feel like that's an outdated mentality. We even have an insult in German called Sitzpinkler.
They actually, believe it or not, I forget where I saw this from, but Lionel Messi, the Argentine, was asked on a Uruguayan TV show with Luis Suarez, do you sit or stand when using the bathroom? I'm not going to give his answer because I could care less about him either. I could care less about how he does it as well.
Sitzpinkler.
Yeah, which translates to someone who's peeing sitting down. You're a Sitzpinkler.
Yeah, I think in the U.S. it is looked at as
How the hell would you know if I'm a Sitzpinkler? Unless you're looking in on me doing my business.
unmasculine in some circles as well. We were watching the Big Bang series the other day, and there was an insult, and they were saying, "I bet you pee sitting down," to make it seem more unmasked.
The only insult was given to me about urine. He said, "You're the kind of guy who'd step out of the shower to take a piss," and yeah, I'm not going to do it in the shower. No, I don't do that. I don't. I understand what goes in the same. No, I'm not going to do that.
Masculine, and it just reconfirms that the culture of peeing standing up is more masculine. And to me, as a Sitzpinkler myself, I think that...
Well, you really don't have a choice now, do you? I mean, I realize maybe you could put on, an adult diaper or something, or maybe you can. I don't know how a woman would do it standing up. I really don't.
It's toxic masculinity, and I welcome anyone who wants to enjoy peeing sitting down to do so. Just relax and enjoy yourself on the toilet.
Relax and enjoy yourself on the toilet.
With Fairlife Nutrition Plan, nutritious has never been so delicious. With 30 grams of high-quality protein and 2 grams of sugar. Finally, a shake you can feel good about. Fairlife Nutrition Plan.
Yeah, so personally, I always pee sitting down when I'm at home, so I guess I'm a Sitzpinkler too.
I don't think you have much of a choice based on what she's been talking about. So, yes, if she's going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb or use the ultraviolet rays or something, what the hell she's going to, I don't know. You better sit down while you're doing it.
Woohoo!
However, if I'm out in a public restroom, I'll probably stand, depending on the cleanliness and which business I gotta do. Yeah, but question for you out there watching, do you sit down when you pee at home? That would be super interesting.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, I don't care who I'm living with, I do it, never mind, screw it. I am not gonna open that can of worms.
Let's take our own survey. I'm very curious because there wasn't a lot of data on this, so let us know if you pee sitting down.
And our last point, number 7, is gonna be restroom accessibility.
This is something I noticed a lot in Germany, especially ever since we made that video reacting to articles, European things that make Americans jealous, and then the other way around. I have been very much aware how accessible places are in Germany, and I've also noticed often that to get to a restroom, you will have to usually go like up or down stairs. And if you're in a
when we were at the Le Méridien in Frankfurt, okay, we had a rule. If you had to do number 2, you don't do it in the hotel room. It was my father, my brother, and I shared the same room. You go downstairs, and and in the lobby, it's downstairs. You have to go downstairs to use the restroom.
A restaurant especially, it's not uncommon to ask where the restroom is, only for the response to be, oh, you go downstairs in the cellar, or it's upstairs over here. And I often think to myself, how does anyone get there if you don't have the means to?
Yeah, so it's really about how not accessible they are in Germany.
Yeah.
In the United States, it's very easy to find the restrooms. They are they tell you where they are. Most restaurants have them near the entrance. So when you walk in there, that's where they would be. Some have them in the back, but they're either in the front or the back. That's usually where they are.
And I think it's true. I guess a lot of the restaurants are built into buildings that are formerly were designed not to be restaurants. Like, for example, in a bigger city where space is limited and then they just put a restaurant in.
Yeah.
And then the toilet, they might just be located in the basement or somewhere else. And I think it's true. It kind of sucks. And I only noticed that when you pointed that out.
Yeah. In the U.S., I believe there's the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, that require facilities to have wheelchair ramps or restroom stalls large enough to accommodate. And most standalone restaurants are single stories anyways.
Yeah, you have so many of the standalone restaurants, and I think for them it's definitely easier to build the toilets. The toilets accessible.
Yeah, everything's on one level.
But yeah, anyway, those were our restroom differences and how Germans do their business.
Wow, it's so incredible and fascinating.
Fascinating is not the word I would use, but this is from Dina and Phil. They're in Germany, and the difference between Germany and USA, the way you use your toilet and all that good stuff. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. But please click like, share, and subscribe for them. And please click like, share, and subscribe for Scott Dova's Interesting World. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.